Before you introduce any teaching method in class, you need to first know your students, their personality, and their learning styles. In this segment, I'll be discussing 4 different kinds of learners and their learning styles to guide you in evaluating your students. Knowing your students will guide you in adopting the perfect teaching methods that suits your students' needs, and the end result, excellent performance. The 4 different kinds of learners we're going to be talking about are the verbal learners, the visual learners, the auditory learners, and the kinesthetic learners. Who are the verbal learners? The verbal learners are those who learn best with the help of written and spoken explanation. They are very sensitive to the meaning and sounds of words. They enjoy storytelling and creative writing. They love reading. They tend to think in words, and they do well with written assignments. Now, for the verbal learners, what teaching strategies would you introduce to help them achieve the best in class? Some of the teaching strategies to introduce are: you give class notes regularly. When information is presented in diagrams, write out explanation for the information. And when a problem involves a sequence of steps, write out in detail how to do each steps. And try to give summary of information to be learned from a topic. What about the visual learners? These are the learners that remember best with the help of pictures, diagrams, flowcharts, timelines, and demonstrations. They enjoy creating visual patterns and need visual stimulations. They have talent for art. They are more aware of objects, shapes, and colors in the environment around them. They are good in reading maps. They tend to think in images and pictures. So the teaching strategies that suit these learners are: when giving class notes, encourage the learners to use highlighter pens to highlight the main points, and also use diagrams, illustrations, and flowcharts when giving information. And also encourage the students to create flashcards and stick notes of key concepts and place them in highly visible places, either in school or at home. The auditory learners enjoy playing instruments. They learn easier if things are set to music. They are able to discriminate between different sounds, and they require explanations of diagrams, graphs, or maps. The teaching strategies that suit the auditory learners are to present information in oral language format. You could use tape recording for your various lectures or encourage the students to record your lectures. You can also encourage the students to create their own audio tapes by recording notebooks and textbook information. Then, to learn sequence of steps, encourage the students to write them out in sentence form and then read them aloud. For example, you must have heard something like, "My very early mother just sat on the 9 planets." That's if some learners try to remember solar system when they're trying to memorize the 9 planets that we have: Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto. So they create it in form of a sentence just for them to remember it. Those are the auditory learners. The kinesthetic learners, they enjoy creative dramatics and dancing. They like expressing themselves with both movement and bodily actions. They use gestures and physical movements to learn and solve problems. They tend to frequent study breaks, and they have keen sense of body awareness. They find it difficult to sit for long periods of time. They are the ones you always see moving up and down the classes, but though they are assimilating, but they prefer movements, and they learn better that way. The teaching strategies that suit the kinesthetic learners are: they benefit from a laboratory setting where they can manipulate materials to learn new information, and they learn best when physically engaged in hands-on activity. They participate in field visits. When they do this, they tend to gain first-hand information and they get excited about it. Practically, when reviewing new information, encourage them to copy and write out the key points. This helps them to keep their hands busy. So, have these So looking at these various learners, the teaching strategies, you tend to ask yourself, does that mean I have to prepare different lesson plans to suit the different learners I have in class? The answer is no. All you need to do is to make a concrete plan for the various learners you have. And that is why I created this checklist to serve as a guide for you. It says planning for multiple intelligences or learners in your classroom. When you find answers to these various questions, you would have been able to take care of the needs of the various learners you have in class. What are those questions? You could find answers to questions like, how can I bring in numbers, calculations, logic, classification, or critical thinking skills to my lecture? How can I engage students in peer sharing or cooperative learning? How can I evoke personal feelings or memories or give students choices? How can I draw in the world of nature? How can I use visual aids, color, or art? How can I use spoken or written words? How can I bring in music or environmental sounds or set key points in a rhythmic or melodic framework? And how can I evolve the whole body or use hands-on experience? Answering these questions when preparing your lesson plan would help you to inculcate the various key skills that are needed to come up with an intelligent, creative lesson plan. And at the end of the day, you're going to be able to get the best out of your learners. So, from the various lectures we've had, we need to make a self-assessment of ourselves. So from various lectures we've had, we need to assess ourselves as teachers. Let me ask, from the things we've learned, I believe there are things you must have been doing well over time, and there are things you haven't been doing well. So you will do a self-assessment and pick a sheet of paper again, or you download the one attached to this course. It has various tables that will help you to answer these questions. The first tables list the things you believe you have done well when teaching. List some evidences that supports the points in one above, and list some things you haven't done well. Also, list some ways you plan to improve in 3 above. Let's see what you got at the end of the assessment.